What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome back to episode 2 of my latest In the League series. I am your host, Kid Blue, and we're going to get this started. First of all, Monday Night Football, you've got the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers, and New Orleans Saints get their 12th win this season against the Carolina Panthers in a pretty low-scoring affair, 12-9. You know, the New Orleans Saints to me are starting to slow down a bit. They struggled. They lost. First of all, they lost to the Cowboys, and they struggled against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now they struggled to get a win against Carolina. This does worry me down the stretch for the New Orleans Saints. Are they going to, keep the same type of momentum that they had early on in the season during the playoffs? This does concern me because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't a very good team. The Carolina Panthers now have lost 6 straight. I get their division rivals and all that, but down the road, it does worry me just a bit. As far as the Carolina Panthers go, they now lose 6 straight in a row. Cam Newton is not the same after he tore his shoulder. He's still playing with a tore shoulder. I think, to me, the better option was to start somebody else instead of Cam Newton. I get that he gives them a best chance to win, but they lost 6 straight. It's not like he gave them the best chance to win this season so far. I think you are slowing down his recovering process if you wanted to get competitive next year in the Carolina Panthers view of things. If you wanted to get competitive next year, that may have to take a back seat to Cam Newton's recovery. Cam Newton is going to take a while to recover, playing all these games in a row with a tore shoulder, and he's not able to recover the same way he would be able to recover if he was sitting down in these games. If you know this season is a loss, I think you should bench Cam Newton and help him recover so you could come back next year firing on all cylinders, because you don't have a bad team in Carolina. You just have Cam Newton with a bad shoulder. So with the Saints, they are now right there, number 1 seed contention after the Rams have lost 2 straight against the Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now the New Orleans Saints are top of the NFC with 12 wins. Can they keep that number 1 seed ahead of Los Angeles? We'll have to see. Los Angeles are slowing down. These Titans are slowing down. These not the Titan teams, but the elite teams of the NFC right now are starting to slow down, and you're seeing teams like the Seahawks starting to rise up. The Chicago Bears are starting to rise up. We're going to see a lot of that come playoff time, and we'll see if one of these top teams like the Rams and the Saints, we'll see if they'll be knocked out after their bye. I don't know if we're going to see these two teams in the NFC playoffs, the NFC Championship playoffs. You would expect the Saints and the Rams to compete in the NFC Championship, but I just don't see it happening. I think one of these teams, if not both, will be eliminated from playoff contention come NFC Championship time. We now move on to some quarterback controversy. We've got some quarterback controversy in the league so far. We're going to start off with Eli Manning, being that I am a Giants fan. We're going to start off with Eli Manning. Coach Pat Shurmur still says that Eli Manning still has some time left in the tank as an NFL starter. Now, a lot of people in the Giants community will agree with this. A lot of people will disagree with this. I am on the bandwagon of disagreeing with this. I was a big Eli supporter in the 2016 season when we went 11-5. A lot of people were getting on Eli. I was still saying, he's still worthy of being an NFL starter. And then 2017 came around, and I was still defending him. Now 2018 is coming around, and I'm starting to say, his father time is approaching. I think it's time for Eli to hang up the cleats and just let somebody else take the reins. I am of the belief that Eli Manning will be the starting quarterback next season, and I will be supporting him all the way, but I do think we have to get somebody in here, whether it's a draft pick or we stick with Kyle Lauletta. I don't know. We should not stick with Kyle Lauletta, but I think we have to get somebody in here, stick behind Eli for at least a season, or maybe half a season. Maybe if Eli is starting to regress even more in 2019, we just bring in that rookie, and we kind of have that Drew Bledsoe effect where the rookie will come in and then eventually kind of shoo away the veteran starter. And we're seeing a lot of this in the past few years. You've seen that with Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe. Obviously, I call it the Bledsoe effect. Or you want to call it the Brady effect. It's whatever you want to call it. But Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Then Tom Brady comes in. You look at Tony Romo. Tony Romo gets hurt. Dak Prescott comes in. Tony Romo shoot away. And then you look at now Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco gets hurt. And now Lamar Jackson is a starter with Joe Flacco healthy. So Lamar Jackson is now the starter. And we're going to segue into that in just a second. But does Eli still have something left in the tank? I believe he can get things done as a game manager, not a very spectacular game manager, because to be a game manager, you have to be a guy that limits your mistakes, short throws, short passes. He's not very accurate in short throws and short passes. You've seen that last week. He could even throw a short screen, a 2-yard screen to Evan Ingram to the left of him. That's going to be a challenge for Eli Manning. He has to limit his interceptions. He has to get more accurate with the football. He can't test downfield as much. I know Odell does demand you to throw the ball downfield because of his talent, but he just can't reach those type of throws anymore. Eli Manning needs to limit his mistakes to be a good game manager. I just don't think he can do that. Will he be able to win you some games? I think so. I think he will play off of other players. You know, Saquon Barkley, hand off to him. If you get an O-line behind him, or you get an O-line in front of him, and then you got Odell and Sterling Shepard as well. And if Evan Ingram starts to develop as a tight end he was in his rookie year, then maybe you can get something developed. But I just don't think Eli has what it takes to be a good, decent game manager in this league to lead us to the playoffs. I just don't think Eli gives us the best chance to make the playoffs, but I don't think it's a very good chance. And I think it's worthy of having somebody else start in his place, so in the future we can get a really good chance of making the playoffs. We then segue to Joe Flacco, who is experiencing this Drew Bledsoe effect immediately. In this case, he is playing Drew Bledsoe, and we're gonna call it the Brady effect. We're gonna call it because he's the one that's affected this situation. Joe Flacco is experiencing the Brady effect, in which Lamar Jackson is now the starter. 33 years old, $18.5 million. Is Joe Flacco set to make? Joe Flacco next season is set to make $18.5 million next season. He is 33 years old. I think he still has some talent and some play left in the tank. I think he's still a viable NFL starter in this league. And I just think the Baltimore Ravens are making a mistake in having Lamar Jackson be the starter next season. News comes out. Ian Rappaport reports that next season Joe Flacco will not be with the Baltimore Ravens come next season, and I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think that Lamar Jackson is a Tyrod Taylor 2.0. I think he's Tyrod Taylor with a slightly better arm. You're not going to get much passing yards out of Lamar Jackson. You will get some plays like Michael Vick type plays. You're going to have him running outside the pocket and things like that. But will he win you games? I think in the beginning of his season, yes. You know, like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had one of the best rookie quarterback campaigns of any rookie quarterback ever. But Lamar Jackson, he's going to have that type of effect where teams aren't going to know how to figure him out. Just like Dak Prescott, you know, he's very good with his legs. He's decent with his passing ability, and teams aren't going to have a struggle in figuring that out. But the next 2 seasons after that, he's going to be pretty easy to figure out. And you see that with Dak Prescott now, and you're going to be seeing that with Lamar Jackson in the future. I don't think Lamar Jackson is the future of the Baltimore Ravens. I think you should have him develop under Joe Flacco just a little longer. I think Joe Flacco is a viable starter. I just think it's the cap is the issue. I think they want to just get rid of the cap and try to go see how far they can get with Lamar Jackson. As far as Joe Flacco goes, where are possible landing spots he could land in 2019? I do think the Jacksonville Jaguars will be looking to move on from Blake Bortles. You look at the Redskins, who have Josh Johnson as their starting quarterback right now, as Alex Smith may not play a down in the NFL ever again after that horrible injury against the Philadelphia Eagles. You look at the Oakland Raiders, who are looking to move on from Derek Carr. I don't know if that's going to be a possibility. It's seeming like a bigger possibility every day. So you look at the possibility of the Oakland Raiders. You look at the Miami Dolphins, who may be wanting to move on from Ryan Tannehill. And then you look at the Buccaneers, who I don't think Jameis Winston will be a part of next season. I think he will be a free agent next season. And like I said, it all matters about this rookie quarterback class. Not a very good quarterback class, but you gotta imagine at least one or two of these teams are gonna pick up a rookie quarterback. So that's gonna be out of the equation. So, but I think a viable landing spot for Joe Flacco can be the Oakland Raiders, can be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Jameis Winston really does not have a long span of time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers any longer. I think they're tired of him, and I think the most possible spot is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Joe Flacco. We now look at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, was I wrong about the firing of offensive coordinator John DeFilippo, because you just seen that the Vikings just put up 41 against the Miami Dolphins after the Miami Dolphins got a miracle win against the New England Patriots. And I don't know if I'm wrong about John DeFilippo just yet. I think the only thing that's different is John DeFilippo didn't run the ball as much as this new offensive coordinator is, that has a little bit more common sense, that you have to utilize your weapons. And one of those weapons is Dalvin Cook, who had a season high, his career high of, I believe, 136 rushing yards against the Miami Dolphins. They rode high with Dalvin Cook, and it's been reported that the Vikings plan to be behind Dalvin Cook more this season going into the playoffs. And I think they're a very dangerous team in the playoffs with Dalvin Cook. Now they have found themselves a new identity. Instead of throwing the ball, they're going to try running the ball and then opening up the play action and throw the ball down the field. That's how football should be played. That is the best way to move down the field in the National Football League. It's to run the ball and then have the run open up the pass. It's never the other way around. It's never been the other way around. I don't think a team has ever succeeded in the other way around. You don't throw the ball to open up the run. You run to open up the pass. I think the Vikings can clinch a spot in the playoffs here and may even go far in the playoffs with their new identity. I think Kirk Cousins is still an issue, but I think though the positives outweigh the negatives, and I think they can go far in the playoffs. They may even get to the NFC Championship game, but I don't think they will win the NFC Championship game. I think there's too much talent in the NFC, and with that being said, I don't think they're going to be making a Super Bowl run this year. But if they keep going the way they're going, they're definitely going to be making the Super Bowl in the next coming seasons with Kirk Cousins, with Dalvin Cook, and their new identity in the offense. And that defense is just fine. I think the defense is fine, and they'll be fine in the future. So the Vikings looking good so far. Best of luck to them in the NFC playoffs. And then we look at just some quick NFL news for you guys. The rich get richer, as the Chargers are looking to bring back Melvin Gordon. He is a possible return at the end of the season. He's getting better, inching closer to his return. And then you look at Hunter Henry, who's back at practice, who Stephen A. swears that he's been playing this season, but he has not played since the preseason, and he's looking to make his NFL debut this season just in time for the playoffs. Melvin Gordon and Hunter Henry, two very, very significant weapons in that Chargers offense, and it will make that Chargers offense even more dangerous and versatile. Melvin Gordon is a huge part of that offense. Hunter Henry, a very good complement to Antonio Gates, and I think the Chargers have a very, very, very good chance of making the Super Bowl. That's right, I said it, the Super Bowl this season. The Chargers finally get their chance with Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers finally gets his chance. I know there's been there's always a controversy with Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning, but I think Phillip Rivers deserves at least a Super Bowl appearance. I think this season is a season they can try to get that done. As far as winning the Super Bowl will be a question, but I think they can make a Super Bowl appearance this season. I want to segue now. I want to stay in the AFC. Let's move on from the Chargers. I want to now talk about the New England Patriots and Max Kellerman. You guys know Max Kellerman has this theory: is Tom Brady falling off a cliff? And I think it's proven that Tom Brady is not falling off a cliff. But are the Patriots falling off the cliff? Let's not talk about Tom Brady. Are the Patriots falling off a cliff? You know, there was a huge debacle that went down in the Miami Miracle. Nobody knows who to blame. You had Bill Belichick apologizing for what he did, and now you have this loss where 17-10, the Pittsburgh Steelers finally, after years and years and years of this highly anticipated matchup, the Steelers versus the Patriots, everyone knew the Steelers could get it done, but just never was able to. Now you have the Patriots finally losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a low-scoring affair that nobody thought would happen, 17-10, holding the New England Patriots to just 10 points. That's one touchdown, and you don't see, nobody is the same. Let's not talk about Tom Brady. I know Tom Brady is not in the MVP conversation like he usually is every single season, but the Patriots aren't one of the best teams. Yes, they're one of the best teams in the AFC. They're obviously still in the playoff race. But they're at 9-5. I think they're just a normal playoff team. I don't think they're one of the elites anymore. The Steelers just laid a goose egg. I mean, not scoring any points, but they just laid a huge stinker against the Oakland Raiders, and I was like, that's the typical Pittsburgh Steelers. They always lose to teams like that, and they always beat good teams, but they can never beat the New England Patriots. So I don't know if that's more of the Patriots being a bad, declining, or it's just the Pittsburgh Steelers being the Jekyll and Hyde team that they are. But the Patriots are starting to decline. That defense can't stop a nosebleed. You had this guy Samuels having a 100-yard day, just running the rock. He looked like Maurice Jones-Drew out there on Sunday. It looked like a little more Maurice Jones-Drew out there. And the Patriots can't stop the run. They weren't good against the pass. They couldn't move the ball down the field. Rob Gronkowski isn't what he is. That Patriots secondary is not good without Logan Ryan, without Malcolm Butler. You have Devin McCourty out there, but that's pretty much it. Those cornerbacks aren't very good. Stephon Gilmore is not who he was with the Bills. So with that being said, it's the Patriots falling down the cliff, not Tom Brady. Is Julian Edelman still looked at as one of the best slot receivers in the league? I barely even heard of Julian Edelman this season. Josh Gordon is there, yes, but you all know he has problems. I don't think you can really depend on him. Finally, Sony Michel gives the Patriots a running game, but they can't really do much without opening up the pass. Rob Gronkowski is always hurt, and when he is on the field, he isn't doing much. So the Patriots aren't what they are. It's not a problem of Tom Brady. It's a problem of the Patriots. The Patriots are now at 9-5. If the Tennessee Titans make it to the playoffs, and you already know they beat them before. The Titans beat the Patriots before. If you get into a playoff situation, I don't think they'll last long. You got the Titans coming into town. And if the Colts get in as well, the Colts are looking good as well. Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady, always a good match. We now move on to our final segment of episode 2 of Latest in the League. Thank you guys also for tuning into the show. Maybe this will be a live type of thing one day, but for right now. And here's our final segment. Are the Rams falling? Are we seeing a decline in the Rams so far already? Are we seeing a Kansas City Chiefs effect from the Los Angeles Rams? Now, is it cold weather? Is it primetime football? Is it being under the lights? I don't know, but it's 2 straight times. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but 2 straight Sunday night football games. You had one against the Chicago Bears in which they lost 15-6. And then the other Sunday night football game where they looked a little better, but still lost the game 30-23. Is it Sunday night football? Is it because they're under the lights? Is it the cold weather? It's starting to get cold here now in December. It's going to get even colder in January. So is it those reasons? I don't know, but the Rams need to figure something out. They're looking stiff on offense. You look at Todd Gurley. He hasn't had his best games these past 2 games. That may be a reason as well. But you look at Jared Goff in the past 3 games or so. He's passed for about 3 touchdowns and a couple and more than that, almost double the interceptions. So you look at Jared Goff, is he starting to decline here in the cold weather? But if you look at Todd Gurley here in these past 2 games, Todd Gurley had a total of 58 yards. That's rushing and receiving. 58 yards against the Bears, and they lost 15-6. And then 124 yards against the Eagles, which is good, but you got to remember that he was out for about half of the game. The only reason why the Rams had 23 points on the board was because of Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley in the middle of that game was out with a knee injury, and from there on, the Rams couldn't move the ball down the field. You had these other running backs in the field. They could not run the ball, and with Todd Gurley on the field, he was able to run, and they couldn't get any points. I don't think they scored any points without Todd Gurley. And then when Todd Gurley comes back into the game, that's when they start coming back from this 30-13 point deficit, and they start moving the ball down the field, and now they're in one score. They're within 1 score of winning the game, and Todd Gurley is just a huge part of their offense. And without Todd Gurley, they need to make sure he's healthy come playoff time, because without Todd Gurley, I don't think the Rams have any slightest chance of winning a game, because they rely on Todd Gurley. I don't know if it's cold weather. Like I said, I don't know if it's cold weather. I don't know if it's because they're under the lights, but they are not the same without Todd Gurley. They're not the same in these primetime games so far this season, whether it's without Todd Gurley or with Todd Gurley. They're just not getting it done. So they need to make sure they open up a lot of opportunities for Todd Gurley, target him a lot, give him a lot of carries, and let's see how well they do down the road. But are the Rams falling? I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But without Todd Gurley, the Rams could be stopped. That's all I have for you guys today. That has been latest in the league with Kid Blue. Make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new. There's more to come in the future. Ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. And I'll see you guys in the next video.